When you are on a motorcycle, the road is eternal, the wind is constant. What else comes with a guarantee like that? You feel free from the world, you are unstoppable. It's a joy, it's a stress reliever. Just get out there and ride.
Well, so what do we have here? The big German beauty. It might look big, it might look heavy, but let me tell you one thing. The BMW 850 GS is a very well balanced motorcycle. Falls in the adventure touring category and is one brilliant machine to ride. You've got enough space to carry your luggage, comfortable seating posture, big massive suspension and tubeless rims as well. And power packed with that 270-degree parallel twin, it's a hoot to ride. Last 40,000 kilometers has been a brilliant experience owning this motorcycle. So let's get started. While I don't own the BMW F850 GS personally, I've been a little lucky to ride it around for a few thousand kilometers. I've taken it on the highway, taken it on the trails. We've seen Kaza, Spiti. It's been a fantastic bike throughout this 40,000+ kilometers. We've had no complaints. We'll get to that in a bit. But apart from that, from a touring perspective, I think this entire package with the suspension setup and the way the bike is made and built is rock solid. That's the BMW 850 GS for you. Now, when you're looking at this particular 850 GS, you might find it a little short in height is what I would say. That's mainly because we've got the factory lowering kit on this motorcycle. The only reason is because the owner of this motorcycle is a little bit on the shorter side, which is why he preferred the lowering kit. Now, what happens with the lowering kit? 790 mm is your seat height when compared to the stock 860 mm that you get from the factory. So, right now, this is not at 790 mm. While we just changed the suspension, the seats have gone back to the Wunderlich seat, which has brought it up by 815 mm. So, all in all, this has not changed the riding dynamics of this bike, or even if you think that the ground clearance is cut off, not at all. The suspension setup is just fantastic. Right, so if you look at all the adventure touring motorcycles in the BMW stable, the 850 GS and the GSA, the 1250 GS and the GSA, they all come with big numbers in terms of weight. They're looking at 230 to 260 kilos. Now, in terms of numbers, yes, that is really heavy. And for a stock bike, weighing in that much is a lot of weight to ride. Now, just imagine you're having set of panniers, a top box and few other accessories on the bike, right? You're adding up the weight a little more, maybe by about 25-30 kilos. Now, that's why BMW has pulled out such a masterpiece. The 850 GS weighing in at 233 kilos, you just don't feel the weight when you're riding the bike around. But you really have to be careful when you are in stop and go traffic, moving the bike around maybe in your parking lot and maybe in slow speeds, because that's where you feel the entire weight in the front end of the motorcycle. But apart from that, riding it on the highway, riding it in the trails around here, the bike really shines. Now, talking about protecting this motorcycle, if you see, we've added quite a bit of parts to this motorcycle to take care of the parts, because dropping a BMW, one, you are going maybe a little bankrupt, and two, your bike is going to be be at the service center for a very long time. So we'll get to that in a bit. If you guys remember, we started a series called Pulp, which is protection, utilities, luggage and performance. We'll break it down with this 850 GS. Right, so we've spoken about the performance part of this motorcycle. It can really carry some good speed, and to back up all of that, you have this huge suite of electronics that works absolutely great. If you're looking at the riding modes, you have 4 riding modes. You've got Rain, Road, Dynamic and Enduro Pro. My favorite is the Dynamic mode. If you ask me why, there's a good balance of initial power, You've got good throttle response and nice torque throughout the rev range. And the cherry on the cake in the dynamic mode is the small burbles and bursts you get out of the exhaust when you deaccelerate. That is music to the ears when you're really whacking the bike in the guts and letting the throttle go. It's really, really pleasant to the ears. In this segment, the braking is not, to the mark. While you're doing these triple digit speeds, the BMW brakes on the 850, they're quite okay, is what we have seen. The rear brake is a little too spongy, but when you couple these guys up with the EBC brake pads, they do a slightly better job in terms of bite and feedback. Now, that was pretty much in terms of performance and what this bike can do, while we've also added a fleet of accessories that you can see on this motorcycle, which we will talk about in a bit. Right, so regardless whether you own the 850 or maybe the bigger guy, the 1250, right, you will have to spend a little bit on protecting the motorcycle because one, the plastic parts are a little too expensive, or even the moving parts, right? They are a little expensive, and most importantly, they are not readily available with BMW. You might have to place the order, leave the bike at a service center for a couple of months or for a few weeks. So in this case, what we've done here, we have gone pretty much all out in protecting the motorcycle because of some of the sensors and other sensitive parts that are on this motorcycle. So we've got the Bikenbiker tank guard, engine guard, which has worked like a charm. We've dropped the bike, I can say easily about 10-15 times in a span of 3 years, and considering the weight of the bike, these guards have done a fantastic job by protecting the plastics and even the crankcase for that matter. Now, moving a little back into the bike, you also have the swing arm sliders, you have the side stand switch sensor guard coupled up with the fork sliders and the ABS sensor with the front brake caliper guard. So these are some of the basic protection parts that you would need on your 850 or even the 1250. The 1250 gets a wider range of accessories in terms of protection, but what's on the 850, what's available for the 850 is what we have here, and it's been working absolutely great. Right, so getting into the utilities department, yes, we've added quite a few accessories here to make the ride a lot more comfortable because this bike is ridden mostly on the highway, which is why we've added quite a bit of these. To start off, we have a slightly taller and wider windscreen from GV, which is called the GV Airflow windscreen. Getting back a little bit, you have the Touratech handlebar risers, the double take mirrors to give you that extra and better field of view of what's happening behind you. And to eliminate those slight bit of buzz and vibration that you get out of the BMW, we've added the gripper piece that go onto your handlebars. And most importantly, what you see here is the Wunderlich comfort seat, the comfort touring seat. They work really great. It does take a little time for you to get used to the seat, but it works really, really good. Now, getting a little lower onto the motorcycle, you also have wider foot pegs for that extra comfort when you're saddling and riding in the trails, and the all-rider brake lever enlarger as well. Last but not the least, I think this is the most favorite accessory that I would love to use on this motorcycle, or maybe even purchase one on my next one, which is the Clearwater Super Savina setup with the Darla combo. It's just insane amount of light, and it works really, really great. So stay tuned, we might just drop in a video about the Clearwater setup that we have on this motorcycle. So yeah, that is the utility department. Right, so coming into the luggage department, this is where you would need the right setup on a bike like this. A bike that's already heavy, you would want to look at a few options, maybe a hard luggage setup, maybe a soft luggage setup, right? So on this bike, we have the GV tank bag and a complete GV pannier system with the top box as well. So you will have to pick up the racks separately for the motorcycle as they are bike specific. The boxes can be swapped between different bikes. So that's pretty much the luggage setup that we have on the 850 here. Last but not the least, in terms of performance, well, you guys might be wondering that we've put in a lot of money into this motorcycle in terms of protection, utilities and luggage. But yeah, in terms of performance, I don't think this bike deserves anything more from what comes from the factory, because the performance is really, really good. What we have here is just a stock replacement K&N air filter that seems to be working fine. There's not a massive difference in terms of in the riding department, but the bike does feel a lot more rev happy when you just want to whack the throttle and get out of trouble. But yeah, that is pretty much the 850 GS here. Right, so we've spoken a lot about how the BMW 850 GS is super brilliant when riding it on the highway and how comfortable it is, right? Now taking it to the trails, well, you will have to be a little skilled and you will have to learn the motorcycle a little bit before you start taking it into trails like these. Because when you're in the trails and when you're, walking the bike through about 15 and 20 kilometers per hour, that is where the entire front end of the motorcycle feels a lot heavy, right? So you'll have to train yourself in riding this motorcycle, but given the chance, I think this will do a fantastic job in the trails, provided you have a very good skill set backing you up. So there you have it. That's our complete ownership of the 850 GS, but we're not done yet, because owning a big BMW, a superbike, an adventure touring motorcycle comes with an expense once you buy it, right? So the overall service experience with BMW has been, I wouldn't say great, it has been just on par, but in terms of your cost and the labor and the consumables used for the motorcycle, they would cost you between 9 and 12,000 rupees, considering the overall condition of the motorcycle. But yeah, apart from that, we've really not had serious problems with the motorcycle. Couple of times, yes, we did, but most of them were covered under warranty. So in that case, I think you will have to be a little caring with the BMWs that you pick up, because they do need a lot of care, and you will have to get it serviced only in the BMW showroom, just to not void your warranty. Alright, so we all know that BMW has relaunched the 850 GS and the GSA back, and they come in two different color variants. The Rally Blue for the GS variant and the Triple Black and the Kalamata for the GSA. Both have been priced fantastic between 16 and 17.5 lakhs in Bangalore. And I think in this segment, it brings a lot to the table, considering the kind of equipment you get with this motorcycle and the fit and finish, the quality of BMW. So that said and done, I think under 16 lakhs, the 850 GS is a brilliant buy if you can manage to skill yourself up and, manage a little bit of weight of the motorcycle. But yeah, apart from that, we've had a fantastic experience. We're looking forward to more kilometers on this motorcycle. My name is Ajit. I'll see you guys in the next one.